the mission and the vision of Kingsway College School is something that's near and dear to my heart. I mean, how do we play a role in the development of lifelong learners as one of the most significant, parts of their lives? And I think that that is something that is full of potential, full of inspiration in terms of how we live that out.
I'm Agnes Stowicki, Managing Editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private and independent schools to bring you insights into school programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administration. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
My professional journey, I've wanted to be an educator since I was like knee high to a grasshopper. I've always wanted to be in education. It's something that has always provided me with inspiration, purpose, and a lot of joy as well. So, right out of university, I applied for my Bachelor of Education, went to University of Toronto, and jumped right into schools. I started my career in the public system, but quickly moved to the independent school system. I was a product of the independent school system myself. I attended Trinity College School as a student. And then I went back and actually taught there for 5 years. And we were doing some amazing things. And it was part of the boarding lifestyle there too, as a sort of assistant head of one of the houses. And then I moved out west to Brentwood College School. And it was out west where I really started to play around with ideas in pedagogy and curriculum and was still a house parent out there. And that was it's just an integral part of why I wanted to be in education, getting to know students, coaching them, eating with them, breaking bread with them. Like it was a really special time and started to really think about, and it afforded me the time to think about the student experience and what education can and might be for different types of learners, different types of students, different types of ambitions that students have as well. And so I was called back to Toronto and was part of the first group of faculty and leadership at Greenwood College School in Toronto. And there we got to do some incredible work around experiential education, outdoor education, in an urban setting, which was really quite fantastic. And from there, I've started to, again, sort of play around with if this is the student experience, then what might be the faculty, the other educators in the building, what might be their experience? How might we unlock their potential to deliver an exceptional educational experience? And so I started an organization with my partner, Justin Medved, who's at the York School, called Cohort 21. At the time of this recording, we're heading into our 14th season, we call it, of Cohort 21, where we started to have these conversations and invite other CIS Ontario schools educators into these conversations around the role of technology. At the time, a whole bunch of new social media were starting to be adopted by educators, and we were really interested in that, really curious about what was being done there. And so Cohort 21 is a year-long professional development where they can deep dive and do some deep learning and experimenting with different topics. Now that's evolved into design thinking, that's evolved into a design lab for the classroom and a leadership lab for really early entry educators to consider, how they lead themselves in education, but also how they might lead with and alongside others. And as we were doing that, I was applying that to my own teaching and learning. And I took the role of I took the role of director of teaching and learning at Bayview Glen. I was there for a couple of years. Fantastic learning there around the use of technology, a different space. And that was a really fantastic 2 years. And then I was at Havergal College for 9 years as vice principal of innovation and sort of strategic design, global education, got into different parts of the school. So I feel now that I'm at Kingsway College School, I have a whole host of different lenses into the different lived experiences of what education can and might be for different types of students. Mentors that I've had, inspirational leaders that I have, there are way too many to like point out one or two. I'll tell you maybe one or two stories. My grade 5 classroom teacher, Mrs. Somerville, um, She taught me through a number of different assignments. She taught me the significance of trust from a teacher to a student, the role that high expectations alongside support plays. But most significantly, she taught me that none of that means much without a really good relationship. And that was the first experience. I said, the first experience about why I love education was these early teachers who taught me that I am like seen and heard, and that I can express my learning, my understandings in a bunch of different ways. And so Mrs. Somerville would certainly be up there. Um, when I was a student at Trinity College School, Roger Wright played a very influential role in my development, both as a human being, but also as an educator. And again, he really was able to focus on relationships. And it didn't matter what team you played on, what sport you were involved in, musical, what art you're producing. He had a vested interest in you as a student and what you were trying to do through school. So those are two people that I would highlight. But then through Cohort 21, through my work with CASE as well, I've come across incredible inspirational leaders who are in positions of formal leadership, but also in positions of positionality leadership, informal leadership. And they've all been very inspiring too. Yeah, I think the mission and the vision of Kingsway College School is something that's near and dear to my heart. I mean, how do we play a role in the development of lifelong learners as one of the most significant, parts of their lives? And I think that that is something that is full of potential, full of inspiration in terms of how we live that out. And so in the junior school, I just see so much investment into knowing our students and knowing who they are as people and as learners and supporting them and exploring what their passion might be, exploring different ways and outlets to expose them to different ideas, different ways of being in the world. And we do that through a really healthy balance of classroom assessments, classroom teaching, curriculum, pedagogy, but we also do that exploring the city as well. So we use experiential education, outdoor education. With the launch of our senior school, in the junior school, we've got senior school mentors, coming onto the junior school campus, supporting our students, working alongside them. And that's a really special part of Kingsway College School, something that really does resonate with me. This idea of, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can be a mentor for others. So I think that's really important. I think what sets us apart is the pathway that comes, from JK to grade 12 is really deliberate. We get to know our students at a very young age. And as they grow through the school, we focus on developing their independence and agency, and we give them opportunities to exercise that agency inside and outside of the classroom. Student voice is very strong here in terms of how we go about our business, how we go about our assemblies, how we go about our, fun fairs. Students play a huge role in that. And they are learning in exercising their agency. They're learning about being, who they are as a leader, who they are as a contributor to our community, but also they're getting feedback on how they lead. They're getting feedback on how they are in the community. And that conversation, if you will, it harkens back to this idea that it takes a community to raise a child, and it's a whole community that's giving it opportunities for our youngest of learners to really experiment and get feedback and learn about themselves as they move into our intermediate division, our middle school. And in our middle school, they have a separate place in our Dundas campus where they can, feel a little bit like they can run this school. They feel like they have a little bit more ownership. They're leaning more into that agency, which is really exciting. And they're leading teams and they're supporting our youngest learners as well. And they're getting a sense of what the learning philosophy is at Kingsway College School, which is one that is founded on agency, but also on students being able to take in a really demanding and challenging academic program with a wealth of support. They can meet the challenge of that academic program. And they are simultaneously looking out into the world, into our senior school, where we have community-based mentorship, extensive community partners who are teaching and learning alongside our students in the real, quote unquote, real world of job exploration, career aspirations, but also working along adults who are professionals in their field and getting that exposure from grade 9 all the way to grade 12 through our PATH program, through our KCS by Design. It's just an incredible opportunity where, again, that community is allowing our students to exercise their agency, but also get feedback and allow our students to understand how they can navigate the world as well. Yeah, and they're not a dichotomy. You can't learn if you're unwell, right? And so well-being is a huge part of our program here. And you can see behind me, we have habits, we have the habits of mind, body, and action. And these are interwoven into our curricular understandings, but also in our pedagogy as well. We also have the four doors. So how our students can sort of walk into arts, into phys ed, into a whole bunch of different ways of expressing themselves is part of allowing our students to know that while we have an academically challenging and supportive program, it's not who they are, right? It's not the only part of who they are and the value that they bring to the community of KCS. Yeah, it's a really interesting question. How is conflict taken up? Conflict, there's different understandings of conflict. Conflict for me means that there's a conflict of, or there's a tension between ideas, not necessarily people. That conflict, and I'm drawing upon a bunch of different research here, but generally that conflict emerges when someone feels harmed. And this is the work of Kurt Gray out of Ohio State. And when someone is harmed, they are going to respond. And the best thing that you can do, and I believe in this, the best thing you can do is have compassion and lead from an area of curiosity. Really try to understand what's at the heart of the conflict, I think is most significant. And if it's between two people, you also have to have compassion and you have to be really curious about your role in that conflict as well. And so it's not a conflict necessarily between two people and yeah, it's not a conflict between two people. It's a conflict of ideas or it's a conflict of perspective. And so there are always ways to invite a conversation that's grounded in curiosity in order to get to the heart of the matter. Now, once you get to the heart of the conflict, you can still disagree, right? But a disagreement doesn't mean that there's no learning. A disagreement means that there's opportunity and there's an opportunity to learn. Where conflict becomes really difficult is when it's based on, someone's integrity or there's a conflict of values and things that you aren't willing to give up on. But I do think that if you can get curious around what is at the heart of the conflict, you are likely to arrive at a place where there's more understanding, where there's dignity that's upheld, and then where there's a place where you can move forward together. There's a lot of data that you can draw upon. You can draw upon, where graduates are attending. You can draw upon the programs that they're going into, scholarship money, et cetera, et cetera. But those are all the results of what's at the heart and soul of independent schools. And I would say what's at the heart and soul of Kingsway College School too. You will walk in and do you feel like you belong? Can you see ways within the hallways where your child can picture themselves running down the hallways or talking with friends or being involved in the various programming? And across independent schools, we all have many opportunities. We all go about that differently. And I think where you're looking at as a parent, you need to know that your child will matter. And so parents should think about what does it take? What does it take for my child to matter? What's the purpose or what's his or her or their passion in life? And can this school allow my child to access that, support them, and then also challenge them in those areas? So I do think that when you're looking, it's there's a lot of data, but there's intangibles. When you walk in, do you feel welcomed? Do you feel like your child can belong? Do you feel like this is a place not only where your child can matter, but where this place matters to your child? When it comes to Kingsway College School, I do think it's important to know about our school that we have two vibrant campuses that are separated from each other. And I think it's important because when you come to this school, in whatever grade, JK, grade 6, grade 7, when you come to this school in the junior school campus on Dundas, you have a really good feeling of a community-based school where you can become part of a tight-knit community. And this grows in our new campus, which just opened this past year on Lakeshore. And you have to have an open mind and open heart when it comes to this campus. So it's 2 stories within a condo building. It was originally scheduled for retail. So we grabbed that space and we have won three different architectural awards for the lighting, for the use of space, for the way that we have made space the third teacher. And I think what's really nice about this is that you can see your child's journey at Kingsway College School growing from the junior school campus into the middle school part of the junior school campus, and then having a really important and significant difference in the senior school campus. It's just far away enough, but close enough that we maintain those ties. So I think that's come and visit both campuses if you can, because they are both unique and they're both beautiful in their own way.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.